to the Software Process and Measurement Cast number 827. I'm Tom Cagley, your host. In the SPaMCast 827, we'll begin cracking groupthink and prioritization with a discussion of urgency versus importance. Evaluating the interplay between urgency and importance is a powerful work intake approach. Teams and project management offices regularly use an Eisenhower Matrix or a variant to visualize the relationship between these two factors. The bottom line in this approach is that you should prioritize work that is important and urgent above work that is just urgent. We also have a visit from Keis Kostaqi, who brings her You Are Not Alone column to the podcast. Keis and I discuss the career path of a Scrum Master. Is there a career path? Or is the role a life avocation? Master Work Intake. Mastering Work Intake, the book by Jeremy Willets and myself, hit the bookstore earlier this year. We have been also running cohort-based workshops to help expose and solve this dirty little secret. Two of the questions we've gotten as we've promoted the workshops are, what is a cohort-based workshop? What value will I get if I join? Both are great questions, and we have an answer. Join us for a 1-hour open house to explore how to diagnose and solve work intake challenges, the most critical issue facing organizations today. This session will provide you with an overview of our course designed to help you to master work intake. We'll cover key takeaways such as effective prioritization, navigating organization structures, measuring work intake flow, and diagnosing common work intake issues. We'll leave you with actionable insights and a clear plan to address work intake problems immediately. Sign up at Eventbrite, 11 o'clock, September 11th. Link in the show notes. Cracking Groupthink, Urgency versus Importance. Thomas M. Cagley Jr., Megan E. Cagley. Evaluating the interplay between urgency and importance is a powerful tool for work intake. Teams and project management offices regularly use an Eisenhower Matrix or a variant to visualize the relationship between these two factors. The bottom line in this approach is that you should prioritize work that is important and urgent above work that is just urgent. As an absolute, work that is neither important nor urgent should be done at some point just before hell freezes over. The concept is both simple and straightforward. Implementation is messier. One of the potential issues that is rarely recognized is the difference between how individuals and groups perceive urgency and importance. Groupthink, aka collaboration, will have both positive and negative implications in any prioritization scheme leveraging urgency and importance. We'll address this issue in 3 parts over 3 separate entries. Entry 1, how groups and individuals perceive urgency and importance differently. 2, we'll highlight the impact of groupthink on urgency and importance. 3, our options to mitigate the risk of misperceptions. Individuals versus teams, Part 1. Groups often perceive urgency and importance differently than individuals, influenced by various psychological and social dynamics. This divergence stems from the diffusion of responsibility, groupthink, social influence, shared information bias, and the collective nature of decision-making process. Diffusion of responsibility. In a group setting, individuals may feel less personal responsibility for addressing urgent or important situations, leading to delays in action. This is commonly seen in the bystander effect, where people in groups are less likely to intervene in emergencies because they assume someone else will take charge. The diffusion of responsibility can result in a lower collective sense of urgency or importance, as members assume others will address the situation. Groupthink. Groupthink can lead groups to downplay the urgency or importance of an issue to maintain harmony and avoid conflict. When the desire for consensus overrides realistic appraisals of situations, groups may make poor decisions based on reduced perceptions of urgency or importance. This occurs particularly when issues challenge the group's existing beliefs or priorities, leading to critical matters being dismissed or overlooked. Social influence and conformity. The perception of urgency and importance within a group is often shaped by social influence and conformity. Group members may look to others to gauge the appropriate level of urgency or importance. If the majority appears calm or indifferent, individuals may conform to this attitude, even if they perceive the situation as more pressing. Similarly, the opinions of influential members can skew the group's perception, causing others to downplay or exaggerate the importance of the issue. Shared information bias. Groups sometimes focus on common, known information, neglecting unique, potentially critical insights. This shared information bias can lead to misjudgments in assessing urgency and importance, as the group might overlook factors not widely recognized within the collective. The emphasis on shared information can cause groups to underestimate the significance of certain issues. Decision-making processes. Groups typically require more time to make decisions due to the need for discussion and consensus building. This process can reduce the perceived urgency of acting quickly, especially if the group prioritizes thorough deliberation over immediate action. Additionally, in group settings, the importance of issues is often determined by collective discussion and negotiation. This process can elevate or diminish the perceived importance of an issue, depending on how well it aligns with the group's overall goals and interests. Sometimes, less important issues may receive more attention if they are easier to agree on. Risk and reward perception. Groups may assess risks and rewards differently than individuals. The collective nature of decision-making might dilute the perceived significance of potential consequences, leading to a lower sense of urgency or importance. Group discussions can moderate extreme viewpoints, balancing the perception of risk and importance. They can also lead to underestimating the seriousness of certain situations if the collective assessment is too conservative. Priority setting. Groups often have to prioritize issues based on the collective input of members. This prioritization process can result in issues being ranked more or less important than an individual might. The group priorities might reflect a compromise that doesn't necessarily align with any single member's view of what's most important. Individuals and group perception. In contrast, individuals are more likely to act on their sense of urgency and importance without these social dynamics. They rely on their values, experiences, and judgment, leading to potentially quicker and more direct responses to situations they deem urgent and important. Individuals are not as influenced by the need to conform to a group dynamic, which can result in a more accurate assessment of what truly matters in a given situation. Groups often perceive urgency and importance differently than individuals, which puts the onus on the facilitator using the approach for prioritization to understand how those differences can generate or mitigate risk. Thoughts, comments, all welcome. Please feel free to reach out to us at spamcastinfo@gmail.com. We look forward to the conversation. Keis Kostaqi, welcome to the Software Process and Measurement Cast. Keis, you are not alone column gives people a lot of really excellent advice, especially, well, heck, any Scrum Master, I think, would get a ton of value out of it. Welcome.
Nice to be here. Happy to be here.
Keis, is a Scrum Master role something that someone should aspire to for their career?
I think so. When I was, in my career, I started as an analyst in a team. And I always liked, before I knew about Agile, I always liked the project management side of things. And I always liked to help people and, gather people and get, answers on things and tasks that they were working on. And I'm like, how can I do this better? But I never liked all the paperwork, like give me a status on this and what is the due date on this. I never liked that piece of it because I felt like I was controlling everything that people did in their everyday lives. So I always wanted to find like a balance. And that's when I learned about Agile and, the Scrum Master role and learning more and more about it and reading more about it and being exposed to different situations. I saw the difference between the role and a project manager or a production manager, whatever other role we have in project management world. I would say if you like project management in general and you like to help people understand their actual work and how to break work down and help them focus on delivering value, their role is for you. It might be challenging in the beginning, but if you like a challenge, a really good challenge, then again, that's what the Scrum Master role is. It won't be a smooth ride always. There will be challenges, there will be problems to solve and, teams to work with, but that's the beauty of it.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One is, and we'll start here because it's the easy one. If a job or a career is hard at the beginning and not hard later on, what does that say?
Well, it could say many things. If it's hard at the beginning and not later on, it means that either you were, not experienced in the beginning and you're kind of getting used to your role and learning along the way. And now it's not easy, but easier to do certain things. That comes with experience. It can also be that in the beginning, when we're always starting a new role or something new in our lives, we tend to be, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but we tend to be more curious about things and we ask questions and we try to learn everything we can about something. So we're always active. So it might seem more challenging in the beginning because of that. And then we tend to learn. So we tend to like become quiet and comfortable and safe with what we know. And we don't always keep asking questions. So it could be that thing too.
So what worried me, right? When I heard, okay, it's challenging at the beginning, less challenging later on, is that suggests to me that there is far less growth, in terms of doing whatever this job was, whether it's a Scrum Master or something else. I worry about losing that growth. And you go back to our conversation last month,
Yeah.
but
Not necessarily. That's hard to do. I see it as a personal challenge, so to speak, right? You have to, and it could be any role. It could be a Scrum Master role. It could be anything that you're doing. If you're not challenging yourself or asking questions or trying to learn, it's always going to be that growth. It's going to be less and less and less, and then it might stop. So it's something we have to challenge ourselves.
Okay. So it's back to it's on you, whomever you are, to continue to grow yourself, even if the role doesn't.
Yeah.
Let's say that 50 years have gone by and you're approaching retirement age. So sometime in the middle of this century, or late this century, it sounds like.
I'm retired really old, apparently.
I think you're just trying to snow our readers. You're about 15 and they just can't tell. Okay, so this big chunk of time goes by. Do you think that if a person was a Scrum Master in 2024 and they're still a Scrum Master in 2074, that's the right career?
See, now I'm debating between my personality and thinking about other people and their situations, right? Me, a person coming from immigrating here to the US, right? For us, it was always go, go, go. It was always be better, always change, always learn, right? It was that mentality. We grew up with that mentality. And if you weren't, then that was a problem. That was a failure. So being here in the US for, I don't know, more than 8 years now, I've seen that that's not true, right? It doesn't mean that you're failing. It's just a choice that you made in your career. But it takes time to get there for me to think that being a Scrum Master for 50 years, in my mind right now, either you have to go through a lot of challenges or nuances in your role and keep it quote unquote interesting. Or if you do the same thing for 50 years, then what growth is there? Right. So it's not just the title. Yeah. It's what you're doing in an everyday career. So that going back to that. So
okay. So again, is that an organization that owns that, or is that something that an individual has to own?
To me, as an individual, I mean, I know a lot of people, we tend to go back to my boss didn't give me the promotion, or like this person eliminated this department and now I'm stuck doing the same thing. And we keep not blaming, but putting the responsibility on somebody else. But if you as an individual don't do something about it, then it doesn't matter if it's an organization or a team member or team lead or a manager. You have to do something too. And if it doesn't work in that environment that you're in, then you should look for another environment that matches with what you're looking for, what career you're looking to grow into.
So regardless of the title, what I'm hearing is your advice, and it's been pretty constant across a number of different shows, is that the onus is on us.
Yes.
At every individual to continue to grow themselves.
Yes. Yeah. No matter what the title is. I mean, a Scrum Master, if you look at hundreds of job descriptions out there for multiple types of companies, it's like you're leading and facilitating the Scrum events, and you're a coach to the team, and you're doing this and that, and removing impediments. It's my personal favorite. You see it in every job description. But what does that mean, right? How do you make it yours? And everybody does something different. They remove impediments in a different way. They facilitate in a different way. They coach in a different way. And that's a growth pattern as well. Like you start from just facilitating a meeting to actually prompting the team to do it, to coaching them and asking difficult questions. I mean, that's a growth in itself in your own role. So no matter if you have the Scrum Master title now or 4 years from now or 10, it's what you do with it that should be different.
I think that's also why it's important not to stay with the same team forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's very difficult. We all settle into. Keis, again, another incredibly phenomenal amount of advice for people. How would people continue the conversation?
Please reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Thank you again for bringing your You Are Not Alone column to the podcast.
Thank you, Tom.
In Reread Saturday News, Chapter 2 of How to Be a Stoic, buy a copy, link in the show notes, is titled A Roadmap for the Journey. In recent months, my wife and I have been beginning to travel in a Class B van. We've taken short trips, we're just learning the ropes, with longer trips in the offing. We rely on GPS a lot. I guess that's not very different from most travelers. However, the more we deviate from the heavily populated and traveled routes, the less ubiquitous and solid Wi-Fi and cell coverage we find. GPS becomes somewhat unreliable. When GPS is intermittent, you must plan for it to be unreliable. We have discovered we need an old-school paper map. For those of a certain age, a paper map provides turn-by-turn instructions via a static interface. It also provides a sense of the overall journey, an early version of search, albeit manual. Chapter 2, titled A Roadmap for the Journey, is a paper roadmap for the remainder of How to Be a Stoic. Buy a copy, read along. Links in the show notes. In the Software Process and Measurement Cast number 828, we will feature our conversation with Arash Parasina. We'll talk about his exciting new methodology, a flexible method that fits a wide range of different types of work. The process improvement is a never-ending journey. Why do so many people ask, are we there yet?